for that, I'd like to invite Patrick, who is going to be talking about account alerts. So Patrick, welcome. Feel free to get started whenever you're ready.
Hey guys, yeah, it's great to be here. Let me share my presentation and then I'll get started. Okay. Stake Signal. So this is a project that I built with Compound Grants DAO, as well as with Paperclip Labs, as they mentioned before. The really cool thing about how it all started was that Compound Grants and Larry actually got me in touch with Paperclip Labs. Because basically there was a skill set complement that they could provide. So part of, I think, what Grants does and the community does is even if your skill set is very particular, you can contribute a lot and you'll be sort of able to find people that complement your talents and that'll help you contribute to the DAO, even if you think I'm really good at doing X, well then X will be super helpful, and in a sort of decentralized way, we can get your skill set into interesting projects. So you can find my GitHub at CenturyApe, on Twitter as well, CenturyApe. I'm going to cover basically 5 topics today. First is just working for a DAO. And then I'll demo Stake Signal, and then I'll cover a couple topics just in terms of the code mechanics of interacting with Compound, getting data, building apps or dApps with Compound, and then a little bit of a roadmap for the future of Stake Signal. So the first thing about working for a DAO is you can choose your level of involvement quite a bit. So I'm still working my day job. And if you are working your day job, you can still hang out on Discord and you can get paid in crypto to do a real project. And it truly is that easy. You just need to be able to take the leap. And you get in there, you say, well, for me, like my strength is mainly in backend with like some front end. And like, let's say you need to have someone help you with design, or you need someone to help you with Solidity or something like that. You can find someone to help you. Or if you're good at Solidity, then you need someone who can do the front end or do integrations or something like that for you. That all exists, and this is sort of what Compound Grants exists to do, is to enable you to do cool projects. So Compound is a protocol that's handling billions of dollars, but for a protocol handling billions of dollars, it's really, you think how much work that entails. It requires a lot of work in a lot of fields. So whether you're a Solidity developer, front end, back end, a designer, UI, UX, a data scientist, a hacker, test engineer, or if you're just good at project management, that's incredibly needed right now. And then if you're good at integrating with third-party tools, for example, Flipside Crypto, or for me, integrating with the SendGrid and Twilio for sending emails, sending text alerts, that is all work that needs to be done. And for me, really focusing on what I was good at and being able to hook up with Paperclip Labs to provide a lot of help on the design side was super helpful. And I think if you have something that you want to build, or if you want to look at the RFPs that are there, then you're going to find quite a lot of success working. And I highly encourage you to make the leap and to try. So how did Stake Signal get started? It was actually started with a tweet by Robert. Basically, we need someone to build a margin call system. And then how's it going? Well, now stakesignal.app is live, and you can go to the website right now, and you can also check it out and set up alerts via email right now. Compound as a dApp, you can save money, you can borrow crypto, but it doesn't contact you in any sort of way. You know, it's an entity sort of existing on the blockchain, but there are events. For example, when I started, basically the day I got my grant was in May, when the market was crashing and there were like tons of liquidations. So that was a day when stake signal was needed, but no project of that sort existed then. And then the day I got my grant, you know, I started getting cracking on making it so that a website can react to events like price changes or health changes, and then send you a message. So that's sort of the need for stake signal. So I'm gonna share the app. So I'm gonna switch over for a second. Okay. So here's stake signal. Basically, you can connect your wallet with Metamask. You log in. It shows you alerts. So here are all sorts of rules that you can set. I'm borrowing more than 70%, more than 65%. Email me when Aave is below a certain number, comp is above a certain number, sushi is above a certain number. And the way that stake signal is going to message you is it's only going to message you once per day. It's not going to spam you or anything like that. But you get in, you can create an alert. So you can set a price alert. For example, set a price target for ETH at $3,200, and then you can create the alert. So then we've got a new alert for ETH right down here at the bottom. Okay, so I'm gonna that's sort of what was built. Let me go back to the presentation. So basically, right now for stake signal, we've got email contact, and I want to sort of talk about getting started, basically, because for me, I was a developer only working in Web 2. I've never done, I haven't written or deployed a smart contract. I haven't done anything in Web 3 before, but it was really helpful for me that entry-level Ethereum is almost entirely in JavaScript, and much of the development experience and tooling is in JavaScript. And for building an app, there's so much stuff that you can do just using JavaScript or Python or whatever you know. And you don't have to touch Solidity because there's tons of work that doesn't require actually getting into the guts of the smart contract. And decentralized protocols like Compound need a lot of talented developers and will pay for you to do interesting work in crypto. And for example, one super high priority right now is to maintain an open source and JavaScript front end and do other types of apps for the protocol. So just a quick note about sort of how stake signal was built. First of all, log in with Metamask. So that's something that a lot of websites will be needing to use getting forward. I've included a link here, login with Metamask demo. This is how I learned how to implement login with Metamask for stake signal. So if you're looking to do something on your own, you know, this is exactly what you can do to get started. It's got an example front-end app. It's got an example back-end app. And you can take what exists there and just turn it into your app. So the second part here is, sorry about that. So for logging with Metamask, the important part here is the Web3 ETH personal sign, and you just have that in there. Your users will sign the message. It'll send the signature to the backend, your backend. your backend can check the message and then return a JWT to authenticate the user. Next, the working with data from Compound on the backend. So compound.js.api is super helpful. So how do I get health information back from Compound? Well, it's this request here. Require Compound Finance, compound.js, and then you just await Compound API account. And that will give you basically a list of addresses, all of their health statuses, things like that. So you can just pull this and get account health from compound.js.api and then use that data for your own app. And then the next one is how do you get prices and query on-chain data. There's public code that I have at my GitHub, Compound Oracle util. Basically, it's the same as interacting with any ETH smart contract using web3.js. You basically pass in the contract ABI, you pass in the contract address, and then you'll be able to grab read functions from the contract. Or if you're building a more advanced app, then you can actually interact with various contracts. So for example, with Compound, you can supply or take out loans or do something like that. And then here's just a laundry list of what I found was useful in building stake signal. Like this, as a developer, this is something you want to learn in terms of building something that interacts with Compound. So Compound.js, all the data from the protocol is there. Web3, so basically being able to interact with Metamask and with Infura and other data sources and the blockchain. For login with Metamask, check out the GitHub that I posted, but also this is how I implemented it with eth.sig util, Ethereum JS util, and JSON Web Token. For Stake Signals API was Node.js, Express, and JWT decode. For automation, for like JavaScript automation, I used Bull. And then for securing things like secret environment variables, I used .env. And then other useful tools to learn sort of as a blockchain developer, building apps, is use Infura for on-chain data, use Firebase to rapidly deploy and redeploy your app, and then Bull and Redis for your worker processes. So that's how I got the automation that drives Stake Signal in, is by learning Bull, by using it, managing the automated polling, the automated triggers, all that stuff. So it's super helpful in terms of building out an automated system. And then sort of a roadmap for where Stake Signal is going. So I don't have too much time left, but I'd like to conclude here. Text alerts is the next major thing. So I have the text alerts. I need to work out sort of all the things with subscribing, unsubscribing, things like that. I'd like to provide public data on protocol health. So basically have a downloadable CSV, just consume the data from my website, turn it into a CSV, provide it for the users. And then I think last but most important is the way Stake Signal was originally envisioned with email and text, I think is not quite right. I think for crypto, lots of people value their privacy, and having a service that is consuming your email and your phone, even though for me, I'm encrypting everything. There's no way for somebody reading the database to get it or link the unencrypted email or phone to your account. I still think that a lot of people prefer to have a higher level of privacy. So I'd love to get suggestions, feedback, things like that on what sort of API I can build that will let people get secure, but also timely notifications on their account. And I think that's sort of like for the next year where I want to take Stake Signal. So yeah, thank you guys very much. And that is it. I highly recommend people work for Compound. Whatever you know how to do, there's a place for you. Super open community, and literally it's as easy as just log into Discord and say, what's up? I'm here to help. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Patrick. That was such a good presentation and just a cool utility. I mean, this is clearly something that Compound and so many other projects need to. I think you kind of brought up one interesting point, which I want to highlight for everybody watching. You don't necessarily need to know how to write smart contracts to be part of this. So much of what we're doing integrates and still works really well with the Web 2 world. So if you're a backend developer, a front-end developer, you just understand how to work with APIs to do certain things, those are still valid options and utilities. And exactly what you're just building on is a perfect example of that. You can still tie this into how emails work and people still need this. So that shouldn't be barrier to entry, and you've kind of proven that with that excellent product. So that's amazing. I was going to say, I think one obvious thing that you can think about is just having web workers in the background. So instead of running and tying into different services, you can just have web workers do a push notification directly. And it'll just be a cool one, because then you can also offload the infrastructure on the client side. But that's awesome. But cool. So
Great,
thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
And